The Seventh Tower by Garth Nix. Book 4, Above the Veil. Chapter 14. Inside the cottage, or rather the large cellar room underneath, Crow was sorting through a collection of strange garments. Great Uncle Ebbitt was asleep in a hammock strung up across one corner, his spirit shadow beneath him. As Tal came down the steps, Ebbitt and his spirit shadow opened one eye each. "Beware the voices of sensible men who sing almost in tune and know all the words," said Ebbitt. Tal scowled. Sometimes Ebbitt was as bad as Adris. "Come over here and try these on," instructed Crow. He sounded friendlier than he had in the past. Crow passed him 2 sets of white robes. The first was light, probably the standard underfolk wear, but the other set was made of a heavier, shinier material. Crow also gave him a long, snouted mask that had clear crystal eyepieces, and a pair of crystal clogs. Tal put on both sets of robes. The outer ones were heavy and hot, as if the fabric did not breathe. The mask was like a giant rat's head, the snout easily as long as Tal's forearm. It had holes in the end, but most of the snout was filled with a sponge-like material. "What is this?" asked Tal before he slipped it on. The mask fit very tightly to his face and under his chin, and was secured behind with adjustable straps. "Filter mask," Crow replied. "We're going to be disguised as cave roach sprayers. The masks keep the poison out. Put these gloves on, too." Tal put on the long, almost transparent gloves. They came up to his elbows and were made of something like the gut of an animal. He was flexing his fingers and being thankful that they were so light when Crow threw him huge, heavy gauntlets made of the same material as the robes. "Do we wear all this stuff?" Tal asked, his voice muffled behind the mask. "Yes," said Crow. "The cave roach sprayers do all the corridors while the Chosen are away in Aine. We will be able to get right up to the base of the Red Tower, but we'll have to spray on the way so we don't look suspicious. Your great uncle thought of a disguise," Crow added reluctantly, nodding at Ebbitt. "It might even work, since he says your spirit shadow can change its shape enough to be a normal shadow." "Yes," said Tal. He hadn't really thought about it, but being a storm shepherd, Adris was much more malleable than any normal adult spirit shadow, which had to basically conform to its Iderian size and shape. "I always wanted to be a cave roach sprayer," said Ebbitt from his hammock, "but I was doomed to a career as a Chosen." Both Crow and Tal frowned at him, though for different reasons. Since Crow had just put his mask on to adjust it, Ebbitt couldn't see either boy's expression, and continued. "I have often wondered where I might have ended up if I'd been a cave roach sprayer." "Dead, like most of them," said Crow, taking off his mask. "Even with the suits, the poison gets them after 20 or 30 years. "Why don't they change jobs?" asked Tal innocently. Crow stared at him. "Underfolk can't change jobs," he said scornfully. "We get written into the records when we're born. If you're a boy, you get your father's job. If you're a girl, you get your mother's. We don't even have names in the records, just born to sweeper number 1346, a son, sweeper number 3019. We make up the names later." "Who keeps these records?" Tal was puzzled. He'd never heard of Chosen doing something so much like work, or of underfolk having numbers instead of names. "We do it ourselves now," said Crow, his lip curling into a sneer. "The Fatalists. The Chosen started it long ago, and the Fatalists are so convinced we're here only to serve that they just keep doing everything as it has always been done. Are you ready?" The sudden question surprised Tal. He stammered out a yes. "We'll go, then," said Crow. "It'll take a few hours to get up to Underfolk 7. We'll have to pick up some poison sprayers on the way." "We're going right now?" asked Tal. "What about the others?" "They've gone down to get the airweed and scrounge for food. The sooner we get this over with, the better. That Milla had the right idea. No waiting around. I reckon she'd be a good looker, too, when she washed up." "What?" asked Tal. He never had time to spare any thought to what Milla looked like. He was confused about how he felt about her. He just got used to the guarded enmity between them, which was better than when she'd wanted to kill him. "Milla," said Crow, twisting his face into an exaggerated leer. "I wouldn't mind." "She'd kill you," said Tal. "She liked me," said Crow. "I could tell. You'll see when she comes back." "She won't be coming back," Tal burst out. "After she tells the crones what she knows, she's going to give herself to the ice. She'll be dead." "What?" exclaimed Crow. In his surprise, he dropped his odd expression. "Why?" "It's complicated," muttered Tal. He picked up his mask and headed for the steps. "Are we going?" "Off to you," said Crow. But Tal was stopped at the bottom of the steps by Ebbitt's spirit shadow. It stood in front of him and yawned, exposing a great mouth of shadow teeth. "Tal." Ebbitt sounded unexpectedly serious. Tal went across to the hammock, while the Maine cat stood aside so Crow could climb up and out. "What is it, Great Uncle?" asked Tal. "A cave roach does not know the difference between right and wrong," instructed Ebbitt, "because they have only instinct to act upon. You, on the other hand, have at least some small parcel of thought. Do not be a cave roach." "What does that mean?" asked Tal. "Do not be a cave roach?" "It's dangerous to be a cave roach," said Ebbitt, "particularly when traveling in the company of a cave roach sprayer." Tal nodded and wondered what in light's name Ebbitt was going on about. "The ice carls cometh," said Ebbitt, "unless I miss my guess. It's a pity you lost the codex." "It's here somewhere," Tal protested, "in the castle. Maybe it will find you." Ebbitt brightened at this thought. "You think so?" he said. "It would be nice to chat to the old thing again." "Goodbye, Uncle," said Tal. He bent down and hugged the old man, as usual surprised by Ebbitt's lightness. He was more fragile than he appeared. "Goodbye, Tal," said Ebbitt. As Tal started to straighten up, Ebbitt whispered in his ear, "Bring me back a cake, one of the ones made with almond meal and boiled oranges. And change your mask before you go." Tal nodded. "I will, Uncle," he said. "In return for that cake, can I have 2 doses of the water spider antidote? In advance?"